For us to create the specular layer on top of the color, the shadow, and the bin occlusion, of course, we need to create a new layer. I'm going to call it specular. And this applies specifically to scenes that have shininess or reflection, and it could be well considered to be part of the color, but in many cases I think it's recommended for you to work on the specularity as a separate pass. That way you can manipulate it in your compositing package in a better way. So what we're going to do here, we're going to create again a collection, this kind of specular collection, and in this collection I'm going to add all the items that were used in the previous layer. So I'm going to go under the collection that I have for the ambient occlusion, and I'm going to add, select all the assets. So that selects them all in that layer, and I'm going to go to the specular collection and I'm going to add them. That way I don't have to be reselecting anything there. Now, as you may imagine, we're going to create a layer override, a shader override better, and the shader override, I'm going to choose here a shader, but this time we're going to create a standard surface or standard shader, and that one of course gets added to it. I'm going to turn on the specular layer for us to visualize it. Okay, so right now I have my scene, my character is rendering a standard layer, and I'm going to need to render out only the specularity in this scene. So I know the ground does not need to render anything because I don't want any specularity in the ground unless I had some sort of a shiny ground or shiny floor in my scene. So I'm going to select this object from that collection. Actually, that object is the object, not here. I'm going to open up my outliner so I can look at Dino Plane 2, and I'm going to look for it here. It is not the easiest way to find things here, but there it is, Dino Plane 2, and I'm going to remove it from that scene. Remember, you have to close it and then open it again in order for you to see it, see it refreshed there. There it is, it's gone. I don't want the bench either. I don't want any reflectivity on the bench. And so that one is a cube 1, if you remember. So cube 1 is going to be removed as well. And then again, let me see if I can just refresh by going in here, clicking on this guy, and then go back out here to render it. Now it doesn't refresh it this way. It has to be closed and open again for you to see it, to see the change. Okay, so now I just have my character there, which is receiving shadow, receiving light. So I have my override, which is the shader. I'm going to go through that and then it comes into the shader. So I'm going to just bring this guy here in front because I'm going to modify the shader to make it fit my needs. I need to render out only specularity. I don't need to render color. I don't need to render shadows, only specularity. So that means I am going to change the weight of the base to 0. So I am not rendering any color information, and I am already seeing my creature reflecting the environment there. If I had a metallic dinosaur, this would be an ideal way for me to get that. I don't have a metallic dinosaur, but I can manipulate that, and I actually have intentionally a paper dinosaur, but I'm going to just render out this layer just for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to change, I can manipulate the weight so I can have the specularity a bit toned down. I can also manipulate, I'm going to keep it at 0.8 for now. I can also manipulate the roughness of it so that the character has, is either more or less shiny. So I'm going to say 0.5 just for the demonstration here. so there is some shine to it, some specularity being rendered. And I am going to also modify here this IOR is the index of refraction. So if I have it all the way here, is down to 0, or if I have it all the way to the opposite, it is going to be affecting the refraction and the reflection of increasing the value of it. For now, I'm just going to modify and just keep it at 1.5 so that I can see a little bit of reflect of the specularity on the whole thing. I could turn on anisotropy if I wanted to have more highlights coming from in different directions. Remember, anisotropy kind of changes the way the lights are treated on the object. Or I can just play with the rotation of the anisotropy so that I can manipulate how the streaming works on it. And again, it's again depending on your scene, you can play with that to change it. I want to keep them at 0 for now. I want to see my transparency. That's what is being rendered right now. And I also want to look at some other values down here, such as things like if I wanted the object to have surface scattering, or if I wanted to have some sort of glow to the object, which I could manipulate some of that, or maybe change the way it is blended with the background so that the alpha is more or less gray or not, to have it I'll have to enable it, so to have it having a less effect or not in it. For now, I'm not enabling the matte. I'm gonna just keep it the way it is. And I'm just gonna make sure go back to it, but my creature still has some shadows in it, so I cannot change that with a shader. I unplug this here and just bring it back on, but I can change it with the collection just by looking at the collection and recognizes if there is shadows in here, that means this object is receiving light from somewhere, and I know that my scene has in here not the direction light but the dome light. The dome light is again in that scene there, so it's eliminating but and at the same time it's casting shadows on it. So by I'm going to select that dome light. I want to bring my hyper shade under the lights, and I have the directional light, which is not there, and the dome light, and I'm going to go and look under the values for the sky dome light, and I'm going to turn off cast shadows. You see right away how it changed, and I'm going to create an absolute override so that this layer does not render shadows in this part. So I have created a reflective material. If I don't want it to have any reflection or any color reflect, just a can shine. Although same thing. If you want to have with highlights, you want to have the dome there casting the information, so that way I have it. So okay. One thing is just to verify is that since I changed the light, the dome light override here, I want to make sure that my object is under the color layer has not changed, and this one seems to be fine. I don't need any shadows more than what I want there. And then the shadow layer, I'm going to test the shadow layer, and the shadow layer seems to be receiving the shadow information that I wanted to do. So for now, I think I am in good shape. I have created the 4 passes that I want to do. I only have one last render pass to create, and that is a wireframe pass. And for that, it's going to be just simply grabbing the collection from my window. Let's see, my property editor got pushed somewhere else. So I have here my group. Let me see if I can just bring it back into Maya. Has this kind of weird way of plugging and unplugging windows. Okay, so I'm going to create a new override, and this one is going to be wireframe. And same thing as all the other ones. This one is going to create a collection. So wireframe collection. And this wireframe collection is going to receive pretty much all the ambient occlusion assets. And actually I'm going to just add the creature on it. So actually you just need the assets that are in the color path, because the color path doesn't have anything but the character and the lights, but we'll see. So I'm going to grab this guy here, I'm going to add it there, I'm going to remove the lights because I don't need the lights for the wireframe, so I'm going to just remove that one, and I'm going to, the dome light, I'm going to remove it too. And I'm going to create a shader override for this one, and of course that shader override is going to be a surface and a wireframe. I'm going to just make it visible here so that I can work on it. Let's see. I need to bring this guy back to become part of the window. Okay, so let me just bring it here and activate the wireframe preview. There it is. It's showing pretty heavy right now, and I am going to simply select that shader override so that I can try to manipulate it. This is a very heavy model because it's been smoothed a couple of times for me to generate nice foldings. That's why it shows that way. I'm going to change it from polygons, from triangles to polygons. That way it feels a little bit better, and we need it to be raster space. That way the lines a little bit better. And for now I'm going to keep it just like that. It's pretty heavy because it's, again, it's a character that has been smoothed a couple of times just to have good definition of some of the sharp angles and the teeth and all that. Okay, so I'm pretty much just, let's look at the alpha of this. Okay, so that's good. I have all my channels, my layers ready to be rendered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to save this in.